In an office, shows Joe King as himself standing in a suit in front of a mirror. King.
Hello, yes, I'm Joe King, and I'm not joking, though I prefer to be called Juris Dr. King.
Over the intercom, Jan Hooks' secretary Jane Hooker says, Juris Dr. King!
King. I'm trying to get ready for my Joe King show monologue. What do you want?
Hooks. The old boys club is here to see you.
King. Well, I haven't seen them in a while. Send them in.
As King sits down at his desk, John Belushi, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, and Norm MacDonald as themselves enter the office and take seats opposite King's desk.
King. Welcome, gentlemen. Are you looking to wish me luck? I'm really starting to love this Joe King show. Frankly, I don't care if we ever go back on the air for Saturday Not Alive.
Belushi. That's exactly why we came to see you, Joe. Farley. The writer's strike is over. Saturday Night Alive is ready to go back on the air.
King. Is that right? Those writers are finally ready to put pen back to paper, huh?
Hartman. That's right, Joe, so no more of your little talk show here. We're ready to get back to work.
King. Well, like I said, maybe I don't need Saturday Night Alive anymore. I've been doing just fine with my own show without you bozos messing it up.
MacDonald. Come on, Joe, You don't really mean that. You love us.
King. If I remember correctly, Mr. MacDonald, you all try to undermine me and take the show away from me at every turn. Why am I all of a sudden going to go back to you guys?
Belushi. Because if you don't, we're going to haunt the shit out of you. Farley. That's right. When we're through haunting you, we'll have you living in a van down by the river.
King. I don't want to be haunted by you assholes, so fine. We'll put Saturday Night Alive back on the air. So who are we going to have host? I want someone we haven't had before, and I am sick of the Two-Timers Club. It's too easy to become a member.
Hartman. We're also sick of the Two-Timers Club. Like I told you from the beginning, you should have just made it a Five-Timers Club like SNL.
King. You're right. From here on out, no more Two-Timers Club. People are going to think it's a group of adulterers anyway with that name, Two-Timers. But regardless, who are we going to have host the first show back?
MacDonald. Well, there's always Buck Henry. He still hasn't left the stage since the last episode.
King. For God's sake, it's been 148 days since the last Saturday Night Alive, and he still hasn't left the stage?
King gets on his intercom and says,
Sugar cans.
Hooks. Remember, I have a lawyer now.
King. Miss Hooker, please have Gilda Radner join me and the Old Boys Club on the stage.
Cuts to the stage where Buck Henry is sitting in a chair, surrounded by King, Belushi, Farley, Hartman, MacDonald, and Radner as herself. King whispers to Radner,
Okay, Gilda, try and seduce him off the stage.
Radner.
Hey, Four Eyes, why don't you take that skinny little behind of yours and come follow me off the stage?
Henry. No, thank you.
King. Geez, Gilda, did you have to use that voice?
Radner. It always worked with Bill Murray.
King. Buck, why the fuck won't you leave the stage anyway? You've been up there 148 days. We're going to have a dead studio audience here soon, and I still need to find a host.
Henry. I'll host.
King. Come on, Buck. You've already hosted twice. And the last episode, you refused to leave the stage during John Quincy Adams' monologue. What's your deal anyway?
Henry. You know how many times I hosted SNL? 10 times.
King. We know, Buck. My God.
Henry. And I'm not leaving this stage until I host this show 10 times.
King. So you're just going to hijack our next 8 shows then, huh? Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ appears and says, yes.
King. Oh, hey, Jesus. Can you try and talk some sense into Buck here and tell him that he has no reason to hijack my show?
Jesus. But, Joe, I think Buck would make a great host for your first show back. Who has a better connection to the show you lovingly spoof than the dead man who has hosted it more than anybody else?
King. Fine, Buck. You can host this show.
Henry. All right. King.
Under one condition. You leave the stage after the show.
Henry. But I want to host it 10 times like I did SNL.
King. We promise to have you back early and often, as long as you don't hijack the show from now on, okay?
Henry. You got yourself a deal, Juris Dr. King. And dead from the earth, we're not alive. It's Saturday Not Alive, starring John Belushi, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Jan Hooks, Norm MacDonald, Gilda Radner, Denitra Vance, and with many other special deceased contributors. Musical guest, Tina Turner, and your host, Buck Henry. Everybody, Buck Henry. Applause, applause, applause. Shows Henry on stage who says, thank you, thank you. I have waited on this stage 148 days to get to host this show again. Now my third time. Applause, applause, applause. Henry. Now, the third time I hosted SNL was early in its second season, and it was Chevy Chase's last show. I'd love to say that my third time here hosting this show was Chevy's first show here, but unfortunately, the last word we got is that sadly, Chevy's still alive. But anyway, the third time I hosted SNL, I spent my monologue hyping up the not ready for primetime players, saying that Jane Curtin gets beat up by her husband, that John Belushi was indebted to the mafia, that Lorraine Newman had been hurt by hundreds, perhaps thousands of men, that Dan Aykroyd sleeps with a bicycle chain in his mouth, that Gilda Radner was going to have a kid with her brother, that Garrett Morris was a cannibal, and that Chevy Chase was leaving the show to start a women's clothing line. So I thought I'd spend my monologue here talking about the undergroundlings, the cast of Saturday Night Alive. What can you say about Belushi? Great character actor, but boy, he really should have paid the mafia back. They killed him so professionally that everyone thought it was an overdose. And then there's Chris Farley, the fatter, dumber version of Belushi. The only difference between them is that with Chris, it was the mafia that owed him money. Poor bastard. And Phil Hartman. Boy, is he something else. Very calm, cool, and collected. His wife, however, well, she throws some temper tantrums backstage, I'll just say that. And then Jan Hooks. What can you say about Jan Hooks? Other than she's Bill Cosby's wet dream, the way she puts back martinis. He wouldn't even need his special concoctions with her. And let's not forget Norm MacDonald, who does Weekend Does Update. Now, everyone seems to think it was cancer that killed Norm, but they have it all wrong. It wasn't cancer itself, but instead it was a cancer, as in cancer is O.J. Simpson's astrological sign. That guy O.J. gets away with more murder. Anyway, Gilda Radner. The sweetest person. And boy, am I glad she aborted that baby she got from her brother. But weird how she did it by throwing up. Inventing a new form of abortion. Kept her skinny as well. And finally, there's Denitra Vance, who I'm not at all familiar with, but they needed a black cast member, so she's their token black person until Garrett Morris finally croaks. Well, there you have it, the undergroundlings. We have a great show tonight. Tina Turner is here, so stick around so we can finally find out exactly what love's got to do with it anyway. We'll be right back.